Hi Saggies, how is it going? Welcome to April 2019. I saved you guys for last this month, which I rarely do because I normally can't keep myself from just popping on and talking to you. It's like I just can't resist. But I guess there's a reason why I needed to wait until I talked to everybody else and you guys were the only ones left before we got here. So I did check in with your energy before I popped on here. And it was funny the notes that were coming through. I mean, April's just such a trip, you guys. Such a trip. And one of the things that came through for me was that what you think is insignificant or of no mention whatsoever and what doesn't seem like it's a very important this month is going to actually be where a lot of the good stuff and the big clues are. And that is so typical of this April. I was like, this month seems kind of cool. It's pretty mellow. I've come to find out that it is one of those weird months where it only makes sense at the end. And those happen a few times a year. I've noticed that we have months like this where we start off thinking we know where we're going and what that's going to look like and what's it going to feel like and how we're going to enjoy it. And then as the week unfolds or the month unfolds, we realize, oh no, I thought it was this and actually it's this, and we're all just having to learn to roll with that. And for you, significantly, you guys are feeling this sense like you should be doing more, you should be building more, you should be making more, you should be going, you should be creating this, you should be here, you should already be over there. You have this whole like pressure on yourselves. Shocker. Um, and yet what you're supposed to be doing is savoring very little details this month, because that is where you're getting your breadcrumb trail. That's the message. So let me pull up my notes here because we have some interesting things happening. There's a reason, part of the reason April is as funny as it is. One, we have this moon cycle that started in March. We have the 0-degree full moon in Libra. What an intense thing. Now, in April, we have a full moon in Libra again, but this time it's at 29 degrees of Libra. So we're really doing the entire range of degrees in Libra from 0 to 29. And that lunar cycle is helping us culminate and collect and close out a whole process that we've been going through for a little while now. We're also getting used to the Uranus and Taurus transit, which is now fully in swing, and the Chiron and Aries transit, which is fully in swing, and look what we got, the Fool. I love it. Ooh, okay, yep. We're opening up a new saga in every sign this is true for, but how that manifests is very different for every sign. For you guys, it's not so much about death of self as it is about starting to pay attention. Oh, Nine of Swords. Starting to pay attention to the details and not getting too caught in your head. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we're going to have a talk about self-trust and self-valuing as well this month. It's a big theme for fire signs in general. Ace of Wands. Whoa, you guys have some good energy. I'm excited. Yeah, okay. We also have something interesting going on, which is that outer planets are starting their retrogrades. They do this a good chunk of the year. The outer planets love their retrogrades. So we have Jupiter, your ruling planet, is going retrograde in your sign starting on April 10th. That's going until August 11th. The Hermit. Okay. And that's going until August 11th. So the next few months, that expansive Jupiter energy, we've talked about this before, has the shadow side of being too much. Like over expansion can be just as destructive as like over restriction, right? So it's actually, I think it's going to be a really good thing for you guys because it's going to help you get more done on a subtler level during this transit. I know the Jupiter and Sag transit hasn't quite been what I think you guys were expecting it to be. It's been a little bit more intense and there's been a little bit more darkness to it than I think you were expecting. Eight of Pentacles. Okay, you guys have some really good energy here in this reading. I know it's had a little bit of a different edge than you were expecting. That's why I think that retrograde might actually be really helpful for you and might actually give a tone. Ooh, the Tower. Somebody had to get the Tower, right? You guys are so flamboyant. Breaking free. breaking free, my friends. You have a lot of energy that has to do with breaking free and doing things in your own way and doing things in new ways and taking some risks and opening up. But funnily enough, I feel like that Jupiter retrograde is part of that. There are a couple other retrogrades starting this month. So we have Pluto retrograde happening in Capricorn starting April 24th. That will go for about half of the year until October 3rd. Four of Swords, pretty fitting after the Tower. And then we have Saturn going retrograde in Capricorn as well on April 29th. That retrograde, the Saturn retrograde, I actually really like because it helps us release a sense of control. It helps us ease up on that sense of mastery and be a little bit more open. What's the last card? 10 of Swords. Oh my gosh, this card has been showing up like nobody's business. I cannot believe it this month. How much it's about shedding a skin, how much it's about killing and discarding and releasing a version of self. It's just kind of wild to me though. It's so consistent. I'm just like, how is that even possible? So you guys have a really flamboyant month ahead, and that's why I'm saying pay attention to the details, pay attention to where you're feeling good and where you're not. Pay attention to what feels like it's lighting you up and what feels a little bit like you're having to light it up. You hear me there? You hear me there? Okay. So there's a new energetic cycle starting for you clearly in April. You will be feeling it because, I mean, look at these first three cards. Fool, Nine of Swords, Ace of Wands. It's funny to have the Nine of Swords in the midst of two such saggy energies to me. Like the Fool and the Ace of Wands to me, it's like, that is you guys. You guys are so adventurous. You're so like, what's going to happen if I do that? What's going to happen if I open that door? What's going to happen if I like create this? What's going to happen if I try this out? And that openness and that creativity and that playfulness and that curiosity that you have is so fantastic. But there's something underlying it. There's something about that Nine of Swords where you're a little bit nervous to do it. You're a little bit nervous to fully open to this new beginning. You're a little bit nervous to show yourself and express yourself in the way you know you want to and the way you know you're destined to. It's bringing up some of that over-analysis. It's bringing up some of that overthinking. And you can start to get in your head where it's like, oh, I can't take that risk. There's no way. I should just stop now. I should just stop now and just not think about it anymore and just step away. Maybe I'm not allowed to have this. Maybe I'm not allowed to open this door. Maybe I'm not allowed to become what I know I am becoming already. So that's the funny thing with you guys. You are so adventurous. You're so playful. You're so bold. And you have, but we've talked about it so many times, you have this secret side of yourself, which is like you're very hard on yourselves. You have really high standards for yourselves. And you can have crippling self-doubt because you have such strong mental faculties. Like you're not an air sign, but you have such intellectual faculties. You can think yourselves into the weirdest of corners. Even when things are going really well, especially when things are going really well, because despite the fact that you guys are so optimistic and you're like, no, it's going to work out, there's a little demon that lives deep down inside of you that you don't really show most people. It's like a little gremlin, like Stripe from the movie Gremlins that pops out of the candy dish. He's like tiny and he lives way back in the background. And he talks to you though, and you know he's there. And he's like, but what if it doesn't? What if this next time that you are jumping out of that airplane to go do the thing, it doesn't work out, because you've also, through a life of risk and experimentation, you've also gotten burned a few times. You've also had experiences where you're like, whoa, that didn't turn out the way I thought it would. And they do sometimes add up into this little voice, right? So there's something about you feeling so open to this next version of self that is causing you a little friction. Now, the way out of that is grounding. It is grounding, it is checking in, and that's where the Hermit and the Eight of Pentacles are so fantastic for you guys. These are very productive energies, like getting practical things done, right? Like being able to get ABC done, getting the papers filed, getting, the less sexy stuff of life that when it's done, though, is really empowering. Going to the dentist, filing your taxes, I'm trying to think of other things. You just those day-to-day things, but they can be really grounding. And there's a lot of power in you just taking the time to do that, to do those little rituals, to do those little check-ins. Also, this is really good for money and for stability and for feeling stable. So this is a great place to put your focus while this other expansive energy is working with you and getting you moving and getting you into new opportunities. With the Fool and the Ace of Wands, these energies will help you feel like your feet are on the ground and you're safe, so that that Nine of Swords energy doesn't get too in your head, right? So these are really fantastic for focusing on your craft, practicing what you need to practice, and getting your affairs in order. This is also great meditative energy. So what I'm noticing with expansion, it's funny that Jupiter's retrograde, right? There's still a lot of expansion going on with you guys, though. Jupiter's still in your sign, and it's pushing you forward. It's pushing you up and out. There can be some exhaustion with that. There can be some intensity with that. And one thing that can kind of help with mediating that is slowing down a little bit and doing some check-in. The Hermit is fantastic for taking that lantern. His lantern is for internal seeking. His lantern is for being in the labyrinth of our minds and our souls and internally seeking and letting that light grow brighter and brighter. Now, apparently, as we hit into the later part of this month, there is something going on that's shaking you up. And I always like to preface a Tower conversation with this. The Tower is about freedom and the toppling of power dynamics that no longer serve. The Tower also gets amplified by how much we have not listened to the cues leading up to something, and that is what dictates how intense the Tower will appear in your life. So if you have been listening to cues and signals of what you've needed to pay attention to or connect the dots with or shift, those little shifts will be happening all the time. By the time that something like the Tower hits, it'll be much more of like that self-revelation. You'll be in line. However, if you've been suppressing things that need to be changed, if you've been avoiding things that need to be changed, you will find that sometimes the Tower will manifest as a very real world toppling of something to free you, because you are supposed to be free, because you are playing the Fool this month, and that means that you are supposed to be out of any power dynamics that do not serve. So we do have the Tower in your reading. Despite all this grounded positive energy, we have the Tower. Now this is a catalyst energy. This is an energy that says it is time for the lightning to strike and open you up. And it's just making me think, was that 6 months ago? I think it was. I think it was the October reading that I said that I had that vision of you guys with the water, with the lightning striking the water. It just came to me right now that that was then. And this is kind of the mirror image of that time. I just got goosebumps. Okay. You are meant to be loved and loving and free. You are meant to feel free, and you are meant to take a risk. You're meant to take a risk. That's, part of the Tower is also just taking a risk. I know it's a very graphic image, but you know who's falling out of the window? The royals, the higher ups, the ones that don't work for us anymore. That's who's falling out. It's very specific. This card is very specific about that. Now, there is some kind of freeing thing that shifts your world. And the takeaway is really important. How you perceive that is really important. That's where you're getting these Four of Swords and Ten of Swords. The Four of Swords is an integration card, right? So reactionary to Tower energy, your reaction needs to be one of just listen, slow down, listen in, because what's really happening with this Tower is you are losing an old version of self. It is going away, it is dead, it's been slashed apart, and it's over. Who you were, even when I was saying that the October reading was about the lightning strike on the water, is not here anymore. Who you were then is not here anymore. You are free. And there's almost like an agoraphobia that can come with this level of freedom, even for a notoriously freedom-seeking energy like Saggies. The thing with you guys is you're also fire. Fire needs to feel like it's wrapped up in the warmth of its community and wrapped up in the warmth of those people that we love. Fire is made for that. So when we are asked to be open to the expanse of becoming something bigger, and we don't feel like we are in that warmth of familiarity and community, we can feel very overwhelmed and lost and lonely. And we can let the gremlin dictate our thoughts. It's all an illusion, though, when it comes to the destructiveness and the fear. That's really what I want to say about this month. This month has a Hall of Mirrors quality to it that is quite confusing at times. And I'm not really exactly sure why that is, to be honest. I can't give you a technical answer for that, at this time at least. Maybe as I think about it more, it will make itself known, but sometimes these things just are the way they are. This month is a month of illusions. What seems to be terrifying and scary is not actually very scary at all. What seems impossible and like there's no way you could make that leap or reach out in that way or connect in that way is actually quite reasonable and only requires a couple of decisive steps in order to be implemented. There is a sense that you are shutting down something that once was yours but is no longer yours. And that's a good thing. But it's profound, and it can shake your foundation a little bit and make you feel as though you're not really sure what's to come next. So trusting in yourself, grounding is really important this month. Grounding is really important this month. I'm going to just stop there, because that's a lot. I didn't see that coming, you guys. Not 100%. I knew it was going to be powerful, but I didn't know exactly how. You know I love you. I actually, funnily enough, I wrote an affirmation for you guys. I didn't write affirmations for anybody else. Apparently you needed one, so I guess I'll tell you that before I close out. Each moment in the day is a chance for sacred learning. Pay attention to the details. Truly. Okay, I am going to close it out there. You can find me on Instagram at SarahVerba. I would love to see you there. I'm booking sessions. I'm here booking sessions, one-on-ones. You can check me out at SARAHTAROT.com. I would love to see you over there. I'll leave all my goodies in the description box so you can go check that out and connect with me, including my email so that you can contact me. I'm also wearing PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. You can check out all the collaborators I work with and the important people in my life, including my good friend Taylor, who does one-on-one holistic business coaching. So if you're interested in that, all of that info is in the description box. I love my friends. I love sharing them with you. And I love you guys so much. You have no idea. In fact, like, yeah, it was kind of a funny lead up to doing this reading because you all are like so in my thoughts and heart. And I've actually tried really not to tap too much into your future, just like knowing so many of you and having so many of you preciously in my life. And so it's been really quite the ride sitting here, like feeling through this message. But I do love you so much. You know how I feel about you. I've made that very clear, I think. And I'm just sending you so much love for April. Have fun transforming. You are mutable fire after all. I think you can handle it. Bye.